And we are live. How's it going, Mets and overall baseball fans? Thank you guys all so much for chiming in for the latest post-game show here in WardyNYM as what feels like for the first time in forever, even though they won a game against the Reds, the offense actually put up 3 runs today. I know, it's insane, right? That's how bomb the barrel this Mets team has been. They finally get a victory, and of course it was no easy task. You had the heart attack save of the ninth. You need Drew Smith to come in and get high cheddar on Lane Thomas for the final K, but we will take it. Put it in the effing books. This Mets team needed a win more than ever, and I don't know if this is Thanos, the soul for a soul, if you will, I'm sorry, it's not Thanos. Whoever the character is from Marvel, the guy with the red skull face, right? Soul for a soul, if I'm not mistaken. The Mets won, and hopefully this is the start of an upward direction for them. And in doing so, the Knicks lost tonight in a heartbreaking fashion. They're in Miami in Game 6. If you're a Knicks fan, I'm sorry, guys. I'm a Knicks fan, too. We're very upset about that, as am I. Brunson was the only guy who he single-handedly carried the Knicks night, and of course, that giveaway, which in my opinion wasn't his fault. It's almost like you need guys moving around you. Randall and Tibbs frustrate me once again, but this isn't a Knicks show. This is a Mets show, so that's what I'm going to focus on. But just know, for all my Knicks fans out there, oh, do I not have audio? Son of gun, I apologize for the audio. Oh, my, why does that always happen? Every once in a while. Okay. The microphone, I'm pretty sure, is good now. So you guys heard me. The volume was just probably low. But again, we're going to be breaking down innings 1 through 9. What transpired in this Mets victory as they take game 1 of a 4-game set over the Washington Nationals. Again, it wasn't an overwhelming, entertaining game. There's a lot of frustration. The Mets leaving runners on base. Sounds like a day that ends in Y. But thankfully, when they needed run production most to get the lead, Francisco Lindor was there to save the day. And Lindor had himself a bad error the inning prior that led in a run, but thankfully made up for it and then some, and had some really, really strong defensive play. So all things considered, Lindor still had a very good day, and if it wasn't for him, the Mets don't win this ball game. The bullpen was star-studded. Tyler McGill wasn't his sharpest by any stretch, but again, for a guy that I say all the time wasn't even expected to be in this rotation, gave the Mets 5 solid innings today, and that's all you can really ask for. Would be nice if he could get 6 against this Nats team, but again, I'll take it, because thankfully the Mets got the dub at the end of the day. But yes, I know if you're a Nets fan, if you're against the Knicks, by all means, enjoy this, soak this up. But for Knicks fans, and including myself, other than it being a heartbreaking loss in the fashion that it was, I'm still coming out of this experience and my first year really following the Knicks as much as I did, and thoroughly happy overall. Changes need to be made in the off season. This team is on an upward direction. I'm very excited about that, but I'm going to stop talking about my Knicks. Just had to bring them up because they lost the game right as the Mets won the game, hence why I said soul for a soul. But guys, spam those W's in the live chat if you haven't already. People on replay, thank you guys all so much for being in here always as we're going to be breaking down this Mets ball game. Again, wasn't even sure I was going to do a show tonight. To start the game wasn't really giving me any ideas, and I know that viewership isn't great right now, and honestly, because I know a lot of you guys at this point in the season like to see me rant more, like to see me be pissed off about the Mets versus talking about a 3-2 victory against the Washington Nationals. But when the Mets have been playing so bad for what has been a good portion of the season now, over the past 17 games, you're 4-13. To secure this win was so vitally important, especially in the way that the Mets did it, able to grind it out. Once the Mets got the lead, they didn't look back, and the bullpen really stepped up. David Robertson was an out shy of having a 6-out save. He deserves a lot of credit. There's a lot of upsides, and Starling Marte too, which I was very happy about as well. Marte, of course, his first at-bat of the day before we break down, everything that happened in this game inning by inning. But Marte's first at-bat of the day was a deep fly out with bases loaded, 2 outs. Unfortunate. Would have been nice if, maybe a grand slammy there or hits it off the wall to drive in a couple, because Marte has been very snake bitten to start the year, has not taken quality at-bats. However, after that at-bat, he then went 2 for his next 2, which is important because if Marte can get going and the spot in the order in which he's been in the lineup, currently batting 6th, then by all means, this Mets lineup is really going to show the depth that it does have. It's just been underwhelming to say the least, and beyond frustrating, making me rant and say a lot of profanity over the past 2 to 3 weeks now. But let's talk about this Mets ball game. Let's get into it. Innings 1 through 9. I want to talk about the positives and the negatives. Mets hit turning point as Braves lose. Funny enough, the Braves lost tonight because they dealt with a complete game shutout from former Met Chris Bassitt there in Toronto. It's actually hilarious. It's almost like, Bassitt, where were you when we need you to do that against the Atlanta Braves when it mattered most this year? But, an early May game in Toronto against the Braves, I'll gladly take that. And, of course, shout out to Sorare MLB and Manta Sleep for being great sponsors here on the channel, but more about them a little bit later here in the show, aside from you guys clicking the link to sign up or, of course, purchase a Manta Sleep mask. There that we have the two separate links in the live chat for people live and people on replay in the comments down below, or, of course, in the description down below. Again, thank you guys all so much for being in here. But let's talk about this Mets game now. I want to get right into it. 5Speed, thank you so much for the membership. It should not say DeGoat membership. I don't know why it still says that. I need to change that, but thank you so much for being a great member on the channel. New member, shout out all my live and reoccurring members, live viewers, all you guys. Dave, my man, thank you so much for being here. Dave, I'll be hitting you up shortly too regarding next Saturday's game. Patty, how's it going? All you guys, again, happy to have you on here. And an update, guys, as I said yesterday, I will be attending 2 games this upcoming week. Wednesday, Tyler McGill is slotted to pitch, and that'll be against a bullpen game for the Rays because Drew Rasmussen, just to talk briefly, the stud who pitched a beauty against the Yanks last night, is now on the 60-day IL with the flexor tendon issue, which could have him sidelined for the majority of the season, which is really unfortunate for the Rays, but not unfortunate for the Mets, who were slotted to face him there this upcoming Wednesday. So I will be at that Wednesday game that I'll be, taking clips of, probably do a video after the game or a live stream, but probably more so leaning a video to post on YouTube. And then Saturday against the Guardians, May 20th. So if you guys are attending either of those games, look out for your short schmuck boy and Wardy, and hopefully I can talk to some of you guys while I'll be there. And you'll be there Tuesday. That's awesome, brother Bry. Justin Verlander will be making his Citi Field debut this Tuesday. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And the first game of the 3-game set, or 2-game set, whatever it is, against the Rays. Yushima, member of 27 months, says, hi, I think I lost years off my life tonight. Otherwise, big win tonight and huge weight lifted off the Mets' shoulders with Lindor's big hit. Yeah, hopefully this is a step in the right direction because, dear God, does this Mets team need positivity right now, right effing now. New layout, love it. Finally, W. Insanity, long time no see. Yeah, we've had the layout since the year started, my man, so happy to have you in here. I hope you like it. We got a bunch of new graphics that we're showing off too, so hopefully you enjoy all of them. That will be getting to shortly. Let's just talk. Let's get into the hitting. As I said, good night tonight for NYC Baseball. Keep it up forever. Leona, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for that donation, too. You're going Friday for your dad's birthday, Jose. That's awesome. Have a great time. Happy early birthday to your dad as well. That's great. But as you see, the Mets, again, were able to provide offense today. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't too much, but it thankfully was enough against the Nationals team where you didn't feel good about it. And I see Will White, you're saying fool's gold win. With the downward spiral that the Mets have been on, it doesn't matter if it's fool's gold. You need wins right now. That's why you had Buck Showalter acting like a playoff game out here and having David Robertson come out for a 6-out save. Like, that is how desperate the Mets were for a win right now, and all you can hope is that this continues tomorrow with their 4 p.m. Eastern game or so against the Nationals, in which I'm going to be out of town. I'll actually be in New York tomorrow, like, for the majority of the day, guys, so I'm not going to be able to do a live show. I'll do a quick game recap at absolute most or nothing, and then Sunday, Monday, we'll have yet to figure out what we're going to do content-wise on that front. But you see the offense there. You're definitely getting some production, which is certainly good. But let's break down the innings 1 through 9 now, as I mentioned earlier. Again, appreciate everyone chiming in live or on replay as we break down the Mets' 3-2 victory over the Washington Nationals in their first game of a 4-game set there in D.C. The game starts off with Tyler McGill, as we see here. Actually, pardon me, starts off with the Mets with 2 outs. Jeff McHitz, who's done really well against Mackenzie Gore. And this is something that deserves credit. Look, Mackenzie Gore didn't give up any earned runs against the Mets, but they got to him, and it was awesome to see a Mackenzie Gore who carved up the Mets and had 10 strikeouts just a couple weeks ago, to now the Mets get him out in just 4 innings and working him fast. It sucks that they weren't able to get runs on him, but they grinded out at bats against him consistently, had a lot of full counts. Yump was, pardon my French, dog shit on both sides. Parental advisory, guys. But besides that, I mean, Gore was struggling to locate, and the Mets were taking some good at-bats. Just, of course, with runners in scoring position, God forbid that this Mets team could actually consistently produce. They did when we finally needed to, but they didn't do it enough. enough as much as we would have liked to see at least. But with 2 outs in the first inning, Jeff McHitz gets a single. Alonso would have walked. Tommy Pham would have walked. It's bases loaded, 2 outs. And as I mentioned already, Starling Marte flies out to deep center, and that does it for the top of the first. In the bottom of the first, Tyler McGill's coming out, hoping for a strong outing. However, he gives up a walk to Garcia, who does not walk much, and then gets a stolen base in which Alvarez was not able to throw. They were contemplating if there was interference there by the batter. There wasn't. He was just slightly in the way, but, Alvarez didn't throw, and ultimately that led to a run, unfortunately, as Joey Meneses, who had a breakout year as a 30-year-old rookie for the Nationals last year and performed well for Team Mexico in the World Baseball Classic, he rips an RBI single to give the Nationals an early 1-0 lead. And just like that, the Mets are now down 34 runs to 9 in first innings this year. Yeah, talk about horrendous. That is not a good stat whatsoever. They have been getting outplayed. They've been getting pistol whipped in that first inning. They really have. They have not played. They've been grinding it out at bats, but this Mets team has really struggled to get early runs on the board with, doing so and not allowing the opposing team to do it first. That's been the bigger issue. But as we get to the second with 1 out, Eduardo Escobar, who started the day from the right side of the plate in place of Beatty, even though Beatty would come in the game later thanks to substitution, he would get himself a single. Nimmo would an opposite field single, but the Mets were not able to convert there. We're 2 on and less than 2 out. In the bottom of the second, Call with a single. Then a double play transpires. I want to say it was from C.J. Abrams. Then Alou gets a single and a stolen base. Thomas would have walked, but thankfully Tyler McGill would escape that jam. As we then head to the third, McHitz with his second hit of the day off of Mackenzie Gore. This time a beautifully placed opposite field single at the end of the barrel. And then with 2 outs, Marte with a single, his first of the day, 1-2. Mets will not be able to score once again with 2 on and 2 out. As we then get to the fourth, Lane Thomas robs Brandon Nimmo of what would have been at least a double, possibly a triple with the speed that we see Brandon Nimmo have. Beautiful catch by Lane Thomas in right field. You got to give him credit. Honestly, it was a great catch right there by the wall and right, and that'll do her for the top of the fourth. Because in the bottom of the fourth, Call would a double to lead things off, and then he would score on a Francisco Lindor error. Lindor, a casual ground out play, goes right under the glove as he charges it, and that allows the second run to score. Thankfully, Lindor took accountability today with basically allowing that run to score and will make up for it and then some, because as we head to the fifth with 2 outs, Alonso will get a single. Nothing else transpires there offensively, but Tyler McGill with his first 1-2-3 inning of the day. And why was that encouraging for me, you might ask? That was his final inning of the day to have a 1-2-3. That's a good way to end your night, as Tyler McGill's final line was 5 innings of 4 hit ball, 2 runs, only 1 earned, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. The walk rate, again, that was an issue that we saw in spring training, that we saw once again today in his start. And McGill hasn't been flashy. He hasn't been overly sharp by any stretch, but he's continuing innings for the Mets. And as a guy who's expected to be your number 8, number 9 starter to begin the year, that's certainly something that you're going to take every day of the week, all things considered. So he has right around a 4 ERA on the season. McGill, if there's been one constant, he's been able to pitch every 5th day, and he has been collapsing the way that David Pearson has at this point, knock on wood. So, I mean, you have to take it for what it is. We need small victories right now because the Mets don't have a lot going in their favor at the moment. And the 6th, though, thankfully, things would start to go in their favor. It starts with a Starling Marte single up the middle, his second of the day. Mark Canha with an opposite field single way in there on the hands. It just pokes out of right. It just stays fair on the line. My dad was yelling, why didn't Marte score there? Marte wasn't hustling as hard. I don't know if he could have scored there. It was a little bit of a fluke play. No less, there's 2 on, and then there's 2 in scoring position with no out. Beatty, who comes in to pinch it there, lefty on righty. A little chopper in the infield. It's tossed, and Marte's out at home while Beatty gets to first safely on the fielder's choice. Afterwards, Nimmo with a walk, and then Francisco Lindor and a 2-2 count, or full count, whichever one it was, and he rips a deep single to center right. That was absolutely huge. That drives in all 3. It clears the bases, and the Mets take a 3-2 lead. And because of that reason, that is why, even after the error that he surrendered, but between the great defense that we saw, multiple highlight plays from Lindor today, and from the clutch 3-run single, Francisco Lindor is Wardy's player of the game. Again, wasn't the greatest game by any stretch, only won 1 for 5, but he did what no one else could do with runners in scoring position today, and that was actually hit. Francisco Lindor now this season is 4 for 4 this year with bases loaded. That is something to make note of, okay? I mean, Lindor, while he hasn't necessarily been the flashiest with the contact of the bat, he's not hitting the 260, the 270s that you want. He's hitting right around right around 223 with a 740 OPS, but the slug has been there. Lindor is right around tied with Pete Alonso with 30 RBIs on the club this year, 6 home runs. So while this isn't the type of start that you would hope to get from someone like Francisco Lindor contact-wise, he is making up for it, at least in the slugging category, and driving in runs when the Mets need it. He's stepping up, but there's one thing that I've always appreciated by Francisco Lindor since he became a Met, is that he has clutched up and come up big in the moments that matter most. Whether it's big games, key moments, Lindor has always been there, and that is why I will always appreciate him for what he is. Not only an elite defender, but, again, a clutch hitter, all things considered. So, huge hit by Lindor there, and that is exactly why he's my player of the game. But as we get back into breaking down this ball game a little bit further, in the 6th, Jeff Brigham comes in, and he has himself a nice 1-2-3 inning. You love that for Brigham. Then in the 7th, Adam Ottavino comes in. It's a 1-2-3 inning with 1 strikeout for Adam. In the 8th, David Robertson, going for the 6-out save, gets a 1-2-3-8 with 2 strikeouts. Then in the 9th, at the top of the 9th, Brandon Nimmo leads things off with an opposite field single. That's patent pending Brandon Nimmo right there going oppo. You love to see that. Love Brandon Nimmo. I mean, I can't get enough of it. Opposite field hits are the most satisfying things to me. That's why, for those that aren't aware, Michael Conforto was my favorite player when he was on the Mets, because Conforto was so good at spreading the field and hitting for opposite field. That's why I have a great appreciation for both Nimmo and McNeil alike. There's nothing more satisfying, in my opinion, than a lefty batter that just knows how to slap it all over the place, and Nimmo was able to do that there. Mets would not score. They would not get an insurance run, which would be frustrating, because as we head to the bottom of the ninth, David Robertson, as I mentioned, is going for the 6-out save. Candelario, however, gets on with a walk. Alou gets on with a walk with only 1 out. There's 2 on, 1 out, and then there becomes 2 outs, and David Robertson is taken out of the game. Buck Showalter says, "Thank you for your service, Dave." He already threw 40 pitches, the most that he's thrown in any outing this year, and you bring in the young right-hander, Drew Smith. And what does Drew Flo do? He strikes out the one batter he sees in Lane Thomas on a high heater, and that would ultimately get the Mets the save and get them the victory. Once again, they win by a final score of 3-2, and it wasn't a flashy win. It wasn't an overly impressive win. The Mets still have major struggles with runners in scoring position. They have a lot more work to be had here, but this was a pivotal win for this Mets team that desperately needed it, so that way I don't just have to not rant for once and feels like the first time in weeks, but more than anything, actually start to build something with this and hopefully get yourself on an upwards direction. Hopefully get yourself on a win streak. As I say this, watch the Mets lose tomorrow, right, with Joey Lucchesi on the bump. But all things considered, this was a much-needed win for this Mets team. They're 1 game below 500, and if they can just come out of this with hopefully winning 3 of 4, God willing, that would be the best scenario I think we could all hope for in this series, because no chance I'm expecting a sweep. The Mets will be above 500 if they can have that happen, or tied, whichever one it was. I think above 500 by 1 game if they win 3 of 4. So there's still plenty of time in this season. They have plenty of time to get things right, but they need to avoid another series loss. Even a series split, while it wouldn't be the worst team in the world. I mean, again, the Mets haven't won a series since their matchup in LA, which was quite literally almost a week from now will be a month ago. So that's a big problem. So this is a Nationals team. Try to take advantage, because then after this, you got the Tampa Bay Rays, who even with their pitching woes to now Springs, who's out for the year, Rasmussen, who's out for the year, most likely. Aside from that, they're still going to be legging out and winning ball games, right? They're going to always be a very productive team. And then you have the Guardians over the weekend. So the Mets, pretty much for the next month and a half, they have nothing short of a hard schedule. So it's imperative for them, as I've been saying all the time, whenever they have a lighter part of the schedule, to take advantage. They haven't done that at all to this point. They lost 14 other 17 games to a bad team and to teams below 500 for the most part entering today. So hopefully, again, this is a step in the right direction, but you need this more than anything. Warriors' blood pressure is 110 over 70 tonight. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Calm, cool, and collected for a change. I mean, I can't say it's been that way the past couple nights. Seriously, it's been needed. It really has been needed. But guys, I want to know, what is everyone's biggest takeaway from tonight's win? What is your I guess more than anything, just like, are you just satisfied that you got the win? It's like, okay, let's get more of this, please. Are you very underwhelmed by the team's performance still. Everyone in the live chat, let me know what is your biggest takeaway from tonight's game. PK, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. People on replay, same applies. Let me know your biggest takeaway from tonight's 3-2 win in the comments below. As you guys, as always, are making sure to smash that like and subscribe button. It is greatly appreciated. Again, happy to have you guys all in here. Conforto went deep tonight. Awesome. That's my man. Conforto, I'm pretty sure, is leading the National League in strikeouts right now, but I will always be rooting for Michael. And you can't talk me out of supporting Michael Conforto. I will always be a huge, huge fan of his inconsistencies and all. I really don't care. I've just always been a big Conforto guy. And they gained the game on Atlanta. Let's just keep it up. Yeah, I mean, the standings means very little to me at this point in the season. Look, the Mets are 6.5 back. That can literally change so quick in their favor or against them. I mean, Miami is tied with the Mets right now at 19-20. The Braves are 25-13. I have barely looked at the standings so far. Aside from just following the Mets win and loss column, I really haven't looked at the standings at all because it means so little. Even if you're say out that we've learned upwards of 10 games out in the first half, we should know by now, as Mets fans especially, that only means so much. So standing watching, that doesn't mean anything to me. I will gladly take a game on the Braves like what the Mets were able to do. Thanks to Chris Bassett in Toronto pitching a complete game shutout, as Spencer Strider was phenomenal again tonight. Had himself 12 strikeouts in 6.2 innings. He is carving up batters still like no tomorrow. And thankfully, I have him on my Sorare MLB team, which is actually a beautiful segment that we're going to do right now. Shout out to Sorare MLB, of course, for being a great sponsor on the channel, guys. For those that don't know, Sorare MLB is the best MLB fantasy game out there. You can sign up for free using my link in the live stream or in the comments down below for people on replay or in the description down below. By signing up for free, you draft your own team as you would do in any fantasy game. You enter tournaments weekly. How you perform in your tournaments is based on how your players do in real life. And if you do well in these tournaments, you can win exclusive prizes. We're talking tickets to your favorite team's games. You can actually win experiences to meet players as well of your favorite teams. You can win actual dollars, hundreds if not thousands of dollars in exclusive tournaments if you say have a more exclusive team than the base cards or the gold cards as you see here. There are so many things you can win, including upgraded cards if you perform well in your weekly tournaments. And what is so awesome, what we're doing on Sorare MLB, which will be starting next week, I'll be starting to promote it for you guys, is we are going to be doing our own Wardy's League. So you guys will be able to sign up and join a league where it's just us Mets fans in it that compete in weekly tournaments, including myself, and whoever does best in those tournaments wins free MLB subscription for the year. A lot of fun stuff is coming out. That'll begin next week. But again, guys, if you want to get ahead of schedule, make sure you sign up to Sorare MLB. Again, you don't have to spend a dime. You get all these free rewards should you do well in your tournaments. And it's so much fun drafting your team, making your team, and being your own GM manager, if you will, on a week-to-week basis as you enter said tournaments. So we're also going to be having a jersey giveaway on the channel coming in the next week or so. And the only way for you to even have a chance of winning the Mets jersey is if you sign up with my unique code for Sorare MLB, clicking the link in the live stream down below in the comments, or of course in the description down below. So shout out once again to Sorare MLB for being a great sponsor. And this is my team right now. So I had Spencer Strider starting tonight, gave me 38 points, waiting on Shane McClanahan to carve up. We'll see how he does. And I'm hoping that, I think the Mets miss him when the Mets play the Rays next week. At least I'm hoping. I'm pretty sure though. We got Yoshida with a solid first day. I'm expecting a big series from Jonah Heim against the Oakland A's as well. So see how that. Vaughn has been hitting really well for me. Andrew Chafin's a stud. Brian Reynolds. Then my other team that's slightly cut off, I have Cease, Romano, Alonso, and Lindor, Bellinger, Miguel Vargas, and Tony Gonsolin. So those are my two tournament teams. And again, appreciate you guys all signing up. Like I said, you're going to want to sign up now because we're doing an exclusive Wardy own we're doing our own Wardy League where it's just exclusive to Mets fans or any followers of mine that you can sign up with my unique link and you will be automatically entered and compete against me and fellow viewers on the channel. It doesn't get much more fun than that, and you get a chance to win some awesome prizes, all baseball related. Yoshima, thank you so much for the donation. You say, I earned a tier 5 limited last week. That is sick. Love that. Yeah, I mean, the best that I've won so far in a tournament was a limited, and it was Aaron Bummer, which I was bummed out about, not going to lie. I was at, 150th out of 9,500 people in a limited tournament, and I was hoping, Bummer strikes guys out, but he's also been off to a shaky start this year with the White Sox. So, and I'm grateful I didn't play him when I did, because the same day I won him, he gave up like 2 runs to the Royals. So I appreciate the limited card. That's dope. But I'm hoping that next time that I get a big win via, virtual card for my team, that's someone that is going to give me more production than say that. But guys, again, appreciate the support here. Happy Yoshima that you've been playing. Appreciate everyone that's been signing up to Sorare MLB. You guys are beauties. As we're breaking down again this key Mets victory, 3-2. Through 38 games last year, the Mets were 24-14. The Braves were 17-20. We all know how last year played out. And I know, again, look, we've went over this endless times, and I think the only reason why you've seen me as animated as you have so far in the past 3 weeks, basically, is because the Mets have just been in such a bad funk at once. It's not like that they've had, a good week and a bad week, a good week and bad week. They've had consistently 3 really, really bad weeks. Going 4-13 over your last 17 games is nothing to be proud of. It's the complete opposite, as a matter of fact. So that's why I've been as animated, as ranting as I've been, because, to watch, pardon my French, dog shit baseball for 3 weeks on end, it's brutal. Well, I mean, us Mets fans know that. Fans of opposing teams, especially teams that say notoriously don't do well year after year, you guys can certainly relate. Like, for example, a team that the Mets lost 2 out of 3 of yesterday, the effing Reds. Or outside of their playoff berth a couple years ago, the Rockies fans. Or, I mean, even nowadays, because they're in a retool mode, the Nationals. Like, the list goes on and on. So all those fans can certainly relate. But just 3 weeks in itself of bad baseball when you're a team with these expectations is inexcusable. I'm always going to call you out. But as I mentioned earlier, and as I'll say again, hopefully this is a step in the right direction. Let's see here what your comments, guys. Going to continue to go through them. Also, we talked about the pitching stats array, but there's the pitching for you. Again, a lot of positives, a lot of zeros today. Bullpen stepped the F up. They looked like a team that wanted to get the victory today, and that's huge. Constant says, "Where do your modern day Howie Rose doing Mets extra back in the 1980s on the Fan? Love your show." Oh, you're too kind. I really, really appreciate it. I can never sit here and say that it's okay to put my name in the same vein as someone as great as Howie, but no less, I will always appreciate and be grateful for said comment. So thank you very much on that. It means a lot. Howie has been one of those guys that I've always admired, obviously, since I first became a Mets fan. Follow him every day, especially when I was really starting to get into the Mets, listening to them daily. A lot of games I wasn't able to watch live because I was just busy with my day job as a young teenager and school, especially in school, in study hall. I'm just popping the radio in and listening to Howie, in my study hall. Like, that's what I was doing. So I, like many of you, I've grown up with Howie as well, and he's an amazing guy, and it just really means a lot for you to say something like that. So thank you. And of course, as a Rangers fan, 1994 Mato will always be something that I appreciate, even as someone that didn't get to appreciate it live, but was passed down through my parents. So just stuff like that. Thank you for the compliments, guys. That means a lot. Mets hitting coach needs to tell Marte to stop shaking that bat so much when he will hit. He didn't do that last year. Yeah, there's a lot of things off about Marte right now, but if there's one thing that we can say is a positive, at least he got 2 hits today. You can tell that he's starting to snap out of it, and this is the time for him too. The bigger thing with Marte, though, isn't only the lack of hustle that goes in hand with the injuries that he's dealt with the past couple of years, which will continue to be an issue with him, unfortunately, but it's also him with breaking balls. We noted it on the Queen's Corner podcast earlier today. Myself, Joe Sorare, and Anthony Recker, is that in 2021, starting Marte was a 300 average hitter against breaking balls. Last year, he was around 215, 220. This year, it's even worse to start the year. So if Marte can find the groove that he's had previously when facing breaking balls, off-speed pitches, then the Mets are going to have a really deep lineup. Because we knew that when Marte got hit by pitch by Mitch Keller, who is actually a very good young pitcher for the Pirates right now, just will never forgive him for hitting Marte in that series. Drives me nuts. I was at a concert when that happened too. I was going bananas. I was in Jersey when that happened. Marte, when he's on, is a vital piece to this lineup. And you knew that when he got hit last year, that felt like almost the final nail in the coffin, or close to. Losing him for the period of time that the Mets lost him, even against lesser opponents, there was no excuses to lose to those teams. You just knew that things would be different if you had a healthy Marte, because he was such an X factor. Marte was arguably my favorite player last year. He really was. And now, right now, it's not the Marte that we've loved and seen in recent years. So you got to hope that he starts to snap out of it more, and we get the production that we're looking for on his front. It might not have been a ugly win, but it is still a win. I'm very happy about that. And hi from Disney World. Sean, hi. Hope you're having a fantastic time in Disney, my friend. I was fine. I was just talking about Disney World earlier today, as a matter of fact. But again, hope you're doing well, Sean. Thank you so much for that donation. Have a great time in Disney. And, I don't know which one you like most. Last time I went to Disney, I think the area I liked most was Epcot. So yeah, let me know. What section of Disney World do you like most? Let me know in the chat. I'm curious. Let's see. Too many left on base, one hit from being shut out. Oh, I agree. Again, this is baby steps. I wasn't overly impressed with this Mets team at all today. Positive pitching, that's for sure, which is good. That's what you need. Offensively, I was farthest thing from impressed. But again, it's baby steps. You need to take these small victories for what they are. And the Mets did have an expected batting average today of 303, so faced some unfortunate bad luck, if you will, because the Nats were making some great catches. Great catches either in right. They're at the hot corner. McNeil got robbed of what was going to be a little blue pit that Candelario made a nice catch of. Just some unfortunate things that didn't go in the Mets' favor today. But they had 10 hits. Again, it's with runners to scoring position that they need to be better at. They really, really do. That's basically all I can say on that front. And guys, give me 1 second. The Nats have been playing good baseball, too. You're not wrong about that. Our bullpen, 0 hits. That's called shut. Yeah, the bullpen did great. Again, the bullpen was able to give the Mets 4 hitless innings. 4 hitless innings. You're taking that to the bank every single day of the week. The Mets only gave up 4 hits today, all from Tyler McGill. Do I think the poor performance with runners in scoring position will improve? Yes, I do think it's going to improve. I do. I stand by that. Naturally, if a Mets team is performing as bad as they are, it's going in hand with them not hitting well with runners in scoring position. The Mets had a lot of really good stretches with runners in scoring position last year, and then as we got into the final month and a half, they really struggled mightily with it heading into the playoffs against the Padres. But this team, even how it's currently constructed, I do have confidence in will be able to drive in those runs more. But I also believe that this team deserves some changes, needs some changes rather. And I am one of those guys that is a proponent to bring up one of the kids still. Not saying that you need to rush him up as a savior, but Vientos is killing it again. Mauricio had another very good day at the plate. Mauricio had 2 walks today too, which is huge because he's not a guy that's been walking much. Even Gary Sanchez had himself a game-winning 2-run double today in the top of the 9th for the Syracuse Mets. He's now 5 for 11 since the Mets picked him up. I'll take him as my backup catcher right now without a problem. The Mets have pieces internally still where I'm excited and want to see them give a leash. Brett Beatty is still in a little bit of a slide. I'm pretty sure I want to say Beatty is now 0 for his last 14, at least 14, if not 15. He's batting 240 with a just under 700 OPS. But I also know that Beatty, when he's right, is going to be amazing for this Mets team because we already saw the flashes early on. So it's just one of those things where we have to grind it out and hope that the Mets can get a series victory here first and foremost and kind of go from there. But guys, I do have to hit the hay. I got to wake up at 6 a.m. Got a long day tomorrow, heading to New York tomorrow for the day with family. So got a lot to do. But in order for me to get that great and much needed sleep, I need to use my Manta Sleep Mask Pro. And I absolutely love this thing. As many of you guys know, Manta Sleep is a phenomenal sponsor on the channel. We've had many of you guys have already hit me up, have said how much you enjoy their product. That again, I'm grateful to have them as a partner on the channel. I used their mask for 2+ weeks before I even brought them on as a partner. And I loved it so much. I reached out to them and I said, hey, we need to make this happen. We need to partner up. And thankfully, that is exactly what happened. Manta Sleep Masks, for those that don't know, are the best sleep masks on the market. They're beyond affordable, and they are all your sleep mask needs. As someone who was never an advocate of sleep masks like myself, look how happy she is. How can he not be happy when you have your Manta Sleep Mask, especially when you need to get some key rest, when you're only going to say get 5-6 hours of sleep, whatever it's going to be. Use these bad boys. The sound mask I've heard raving reviews about as well. A It's a Bluetooth mask if you want to listen to some nice soothing wails at night. You want to listen to, some calm storms. You want to listen to the Rolling Stones, Sympathy for the Devil, whatever you want to listen to, you can listen to with that sound mask, which I absolutely love. I mean, you have so many different options here, and the weighted mask I've heard a lot of good things about. The cool mask, which if you go to bed hot like I do after doing these post-game shows nightly, this will give you some coolant around your eyes and feel you nice and cold on your face before you hit the hay, which is really nice. Or if you want the opposite, especially wintertime, if you're on the East Coast or just somewhere where it's chilly, that is where you're going to want the Manta Steam mask. Want some steam around those eye sockets, those bad boys, so when you're going to bed cold at night, you have a nice warm face. That is where you're going to get in the Manta Steam mask. So for all your sleep mask needs, I highly implore you guys to all check out Manta Sleep using my promo code WARDY for 10% off your purchase. And again, make sure to check it out in the live chat here right now. Comments down below on replay or in the description down below to check out the link. Shout out once more to Manta Sleep for being a great partner on the channel, and I just love their product. I might slip this bad boy on in 2 seconds, which means we are going to get out of here. So thank you guys all so much as always for watching. It is greatly appreciated. Love you guys to death. Appreciate the support. Matthew, happy to have you in here, brother. Always does mean a lot. We got a 3-way tie for third. It means nothing to me this early in the season. So they're going to battle it out for a while. I know that. But what I also do know is that I really, really appreciate you guys being in here. Thank you so much to death for all your great support. And we'll be back tomorrow with that a quick game recap off the phone, hopefully after a Mets victory. But until then, have a great one, folks. I'll talk to you again real soon. Let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.